Hi, my name's Phil. I'd like to talk about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss some race baiting from the Telegraph this week, prepared by former academic turned political quack for clicks, Matt Goodwin. It claims that the proportion of white British in the UK will drop below 50% towards the end of the century, but in order to do this, it had to change the definition of what white British even means. But first, for daily news and politics, please hit the subscribe button to stay notified. So the headline: white British people will be a minority in 40 years, report claims. Then it includes a graph which anyone from a mathematical background will know is clearly not based on any data because it shows two completely straight intersecting lines. Now, straight lines on a graph means either there are only two data points or there are more data points, but they all line up exactly. Now, changes like this do not happen in a linear fashion. And two data points does not allow you to plot population changes over a period of decades. It is mathematical quackery of the highest order. It is the scientific equivalent of being told to put leeches on your forehead to deal with a migraine. And the Telegraph know this because, remember, the headline, what it says is claims. It uses the word claims. Report claims, not report says, report shows, or anything like that. Report claims. So even the person writing the Telegraph headline, they know this is nonsense. Anyone who actually reads the article knows it's nonsense. They're supposed to get you, again, on the headline and the graph. And of course, the article is not intended to appeal to those with a mathematical background anyway. But let me tell you, any serious study could not possibly produce a chart like that. It's a drawing. It's not a chart. It's not a graph. It's a drawing. Someone has drawn a picture. But of the many ways in which I could criticize this childish nonsense, I want to pick up on one aspect of it, which is so ridiculous that even those this article is intended to upset would think weird if they read it. Though, first of all, I'll just say that this is clearly intended to stoke racial hatred. It's an article which cannot possibly work on people who don't care what colour their neighbours or colleagues have. You know, it's really that simple. It's not an article that even pretends to be talking about whether someone is British or an immigrant. No. This is explicitly about skin colour. And so it's designed to appeal to the Enoch Powell fanboys. And the thing about the Enoch Powell fan club is they tend to be quite elderly. Not all of them, admittedly. But if you ever see a photo of a Reform UK meeting, they tend to stand out. So why would they even care about what's going to happen in 40 years? However, and this is the part of the article I particularly want to focus on, because there are lots of things you could pick about this. They're not even saying that white British will not be the majority in 40 years' time. That's what the headline suggests to you. That's not what the article says. Because to make this race baiting work, they had to change the definition of white British. I mean, you would think it's simple, right? You're filling in the ethnicity bit of a survey for something like the census. You're white, so you go to the, well, I'm white, so I'll go to the white options, right? They're set out on the government website. There's an official list because, you know, we do census. So the white options, you can have the first ones, English, Welsh, Scottish, Northern Irish, or British. Well, you've never set foot outside Bristol in your entire life, so white English or white British, right? Same option. You're not Irish, you're not Gypsy or Irish Traveller, you're not Roma, you're not anything else. But the Telegraph and Professor Clicks, they're not happy with this. Because in order to show that after most of the gammons are dead anyway, white British will somehow be a minority, like in Eric Cartman's water park, the Telegraph needed to exclude a load of people who are white and British from their white British classification. Otherwise, their race baiting ends up with a flaw in the logic so large, even Lee Anderson could realise something's not quite right. So if you have, according to them, if you have one parent who isn't British, you can't be white British. That's what the article says. But you're going, but I'm white and I'm British. So why aren't you white British? Which bit isn't right? Which bit isn't right? Let's think about this with an example. So let's say you got a man. He's white and he was born and raised in Britain. His parents have been British going way back, right? Let's call him Nigel. Nigel's a good name. Now, Nigel has children of his own with, I don't know, let's say a German woman called Kirsten, right? She's white too. So their children are also white, of course. And they're all living in Britain. The kids were born in Britain, they were raised in Britain, they went to British schools, they've got British accents. I'll bet their father Nigel made sure their bedrooms were festooned with Union flag bunting and Spitfire wallpaper. They'll have had 1940s street parties for their birthday and absolutely no Battenberg cake on Europe Day. So they're British. But the Telegraph says that Nigel's children, who are white and British, aren't white British. So which bit is wrong? And Nigel's children's not white. Is that why they can't be white British? Because they're not white? Or are they not British? And although you may detect a hint of ridicule here, this is the sort of thing you do have to press in order to deal with these charlatans. Because they're too used to making claims. It's the Ministry of Truthing. It's 1984. It's absolutely Orwellian. They just make these mad claims. And people just, based on the idea, people just accept them and not think about them. These people need to be asked about the logic of their Alice in Wonderland level nonsense. Because not just legally, but logically, if someone is white, then they're white. And if they're born and raised in Britain with a British birth certificate and everything, they're British. They have British passports. They didn't have to pass a citizenship test or use any of their parents' documents to get it. They did for the German passport, so that they can keep going to the EU, because they're not German. They've got a German mother, so they have access to a German passport, but they would have had to use their mother's documentation. But they didn't for their British passports. And even those who do want to get outraged at there not being enough whiteness, which if that is your instinct, then by the way, you are obviously racist, of course. But if that's your thing, then surely even you can see that being shown, first of all, a child's drawing, and then because I'm absolutely telling you, population changes do not happen. If you look at actual population data, it's never a straight line. So why would you think future population data would be a straight line? Of course it would not be. And then you're told that white British will be a minority when most of those UK will be long dead. But even then, only if we don't count a load of people who are white and British. And because they've basically just made up a study, which would be, if one of my former 15-year-old GCSE students had presented me with something like this, I would say, "Don't be ridiculous." I mean, this is supposed to be from a professor. Then the Telegraph don't even just get to claim, "Oh, no, we were just reporting the facts. It's not our fault if racists like use it for their own purposes. We're just reporting facts. We're news, you know." They haven't. It's not facts. They've changed the facts. They've decided that someone who is white and British is not necessarily white British. But they don't say how they justify this. Which bit is wrong? That's what they should be asked. Which bit is wrong? These children, Nigel's children, they're white and they're British. So why are they not white British? Are they not white or are they not British? But let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.